Union annual fall meeting 2018. How many AGUs have you been to?
I lost count, but many, maybe 10.
You can just look at me. That'll work out.
About
10. That's a lot of science collaborating.
Yeah.
And I think, real quick before we get into the topic of your poster session, is what's it like for you to sort of evolve as a scientist and a collaborator and a researcher over a decade, and then keep coming back and meeting the same people over and over again? What's that like?
It's rewarding. It's the best part of being a scientist, because you never know what new things you can learn at this meeting. It's always like a candy, like Forrest Gump. You open the box of candies, and you don't know what's in each one. So it's exactly the same thing. So you come here, and it's so exciting because every time you learn something absolutely outstanding.
Little treats of
absolutely.
knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I want more of that. I want to go back.
Exactly.
This is my second time, and I loved it the first time. I'm so excited and honored that I get to come back. So you're talking about tsunami modeling? That's so important. You got to know where those huge waves are going to go to protect those communities. And I heard a reference in a policy and safety presentation last night talking about how people attributed saving their lives to the work that you are doing. Because when the earthquake happened, they knew exactly what to do. Talk a bit about the importance of modeling natural phenomena.
Yeah, so in Alaska, we have a very specific situation in terms of tsunamis, because they are pretty close. So they are produced by underwater earthquakes pretty close to where people live. That's why we don't have that luxury of 2 or 3 hours of tsunami warning, like, for example, people in California, right? When we have a big tsunami in Alaska, they will have 3 hours to evacuate. Unfortunately, communities in Alaska have 5 to 20 minutes. So it means that they need to know exactly what to do at 4 a.m. when there is an earthquake and there is a tsunami warning. You just need to get up, grab your emergency kit, and go. And you need to know exactly where to go. You don't need to guess at 4 a.m. Where to go in the middle of the night when it's like minus 30 degrees outside, right? So this is what we do. We try to educate people. We try to supplement emergency officials, tools with our inundation maps, so people are prepared. And this is the key. So, because the time is so short. 2
weeks ago, magnitude 7+ earthquake right off Anchorage. Tsunami warning goes out. The tsunami was pretty small. But is it better to overreact than underreact when tsunami warnings come?
Yes, and this is the great example of the earthquake that didn't make a tsunami, but could potentially make underwater landslides, just exactly what happened in Indonesia in September. The mechanism of the earthquake was very similar to the most recent earthquake, which is actually we are talking about the Kodiak earthquake. So the Kodiak earthquake in January, it was in the ocean. The mechanism was strike slip, same as Indonesia, but in Indonesia that strike slip earthquake made landslides, and landslide generated all these huge waves that came to town in 3 minutes. So if you watch all these videos on YouTube, you will see a house shaking, and then in 2 minutes there is a wave, which means that the shaking is your natural sign for self-evacuation. So people need to learn those natural signs. They shouldn't even wait for official tsunami warning in Alaska. This is what we tell people in coastal zone. If it shakes, go. Don't wait for any officials to tell you what to do. So this is what we try to accomplish here.
I'll try to share some tsunami information and safety stuff after this on links later on. Does knowing more about the planet terrify you about Earth, or make you more comfortable to live on this planet that is in constant upheaval?
I don't think I got any more comfortable after the 7.0 earthquake, but I hope what it will do, that people will start, for example, in Fairbanks, people will start thinking about preparedness for the next one in Fairbanks. That will happen for sure. We just don't know when, and it could be much worse than Anchorage earthquake.
When did scientists start putting together earthquakes and tsunamis? They go together like peanut butter and jelly?
Oh, it's been happening for a long time.
And so it's a great example of how the Earth works together. Air, land, and water, it's all one system.
Exactly. But fortunately, the tsunami science started evolving in late 80s of the last century. And of course, the establishment of the tsunami warning centers in the United States helped a lot, because the first tsunami that killed 150 people in Hawaii in 1946, this was the wake-up call, and this is why the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center was established. And of course, after the 1964 in Alaska, we had a second tsunami warning center established, and after that, I mean, at least it was widely recognized that tsunami is a threat. It needs to be monitored somehow. But now we are at the whole new level of monitoring tsunamis with those underwater DART system, the pressure sensors. So.
My last question for you, I'll let you get back to all the work that you're doing this morning, is why Fairbanks? Why work there?
Oh, because why I ended up in Fairbanks.
You could choose anywhere in the world to work.
But there was a professor at the Institute of Marine Sciences, Zygmunt Kowalik, who was studying numerical modeling of tsunami waves. And he was looking for a graduate student with the tsunami background. And this was actually the topic of my thesis back in Russia, the tsunami waves. So, and I was very interested in not just, writing formulas, but actually doing numerical models that would result in something practical that people can use. And this is, the dreams come true. So finally, after doing that for 20 years in Alaska, we finally came to the point where the maps are actively used, for example, in Kodiak. People make evacuation lines, people go and look in the community where the most efficient exits from inundation zone are. So people actively working with our maps. It's not just something that goes on the shelf for the future generations. No, people are using them now. And this was my goal, to come to that point, to see the results being implemented in the communities.
To save lives.
Yeah. Basically.
Thank you so much for taking some time. I know I pulled you away. It's like, oh my God, come with me. So have a great day. I'll see you around. Thank you very much.
Yeah.